Not too sure. I've been watching him for obviously a long time, and one of the best goalies in the world. Just like Ottinger, just like a lot of goalies in this league. Very special goalie to watch. He's one of the best skaters for a goalie, I would say, which gives us a really good challenge, and tracks the puck really well. I mean, being one of the best goalies, you got to do pretty well everything really good, and that's what he does.
He's acrobatic.
Sorry?
He's acrobatic.
Yeah, he's very athletic. Yeah, he's very athletic. Obviously very flexible, and he's got the experience of going to the finals, got the experience of winning games, being on a winning team, so it's going to be a really good challenge for all of us.
How does a more physical team, maybe a team that crashes the net a little more, what's it mean to a goalie? Like, it seems like everyone crashes the net in the playoffs, so
yeah.
How's Florida a different foe for a goalie than any other team you've played so far?
It's a great question. I guess we'll find out. I think that they are just really. I mean, they just love to grind. They love to get pucks to the net and crash goalies and make goalies' lives pretty miserable. So it's a great challenge for me to enjoy that, enjoy getting crashed to the net, and enjoy the battle. I think that's what brings out the most enjoyment in playing hockey is the battle. So it'll be fun.
You got to play against Matt McDavid when he was down the road.
Yep.
Do you expect the same player in a Florida uniform, and what does he bring to your world that you haven't seen for a while, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what to expect. That's totally up to him how he's gonna, bring his game. So we'll see. But I know that he's obviously he's a skilled player. He gets the pucks to the net. He can fight. He can grind in the corners. He's obviously a leader on their team, and it's. He's a special player to watch. He's a great player, a player that I would say everybody in here respects. I think we respect everyone on that team. Obviously, an incredible team. So, just another one of those things where it's very exciting that we get to play.
So is Bennett the same kind of player, but not quite as greasy?
As Tkachuk?
Yes.
I'm going to be super honest. When you guys ask questions about players, I'm not a player, so I can't.
From a goalie standpoint.
From a goalie standpoint, I mean, Bennett's got an incredible shot, great skater. He's got amazing IQ. Again, just a really solid player. I think he's also a good two-way player, and I do believe he is very good at grinding as well.
Stu, you talked afterwards how it was a nice little mental and maybe even physical reset for you those days. How important has these days been off for you? Because you went 2 straight and then right into that Dallas series. How fresh do you feel, both physically and mentally, and how important do you think that is?
Yeah, I think all of us are feeling really fresh right now. Obviously, we played a lot of games in a short amount of days, so being able to get a few days here where we were able to get a rest, kind of get away from the game a little bit, enjoy our families, enjoy each other. It's always a really nice way to get away from the game, and then it's right back to work. So it was nice getting back in it today and getting back to stopping some pucks.
And you seem like a very philosophical person. Are you able to, I get the stress and the importance of, are you able to enjoy this? Have you had that time to say, hey man, this is pretty cool, I'm going to the Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, I've definitely had a moment to just kind of think where we are, and that's part of being in the moment, and I think that's also part of playing hockey no matter what round you're in, no matter if it's regular season, playoffs, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup finals. It's about enjoyment. It's about having fun, and we're all kids at heart. And when we're out on the ice, we're just having a ton of fun and really enjoying ourselves. So I believe that that's a huge part of it, and keeps things a little bit lighter as well.
What do you see from the guys? I mean, I know you're playing well, but in terms of making sure passes and shots are contested, there's nothing clean from an attacking team.
What do you mean? What do you mean exactly?
Like in just terms of the commitment to defending, making sure there's a stick in the way or blocking a shot.
How do I
working hand in hand to make your life limit the grade A chances? I guess.
Yeah. I think I think they've been doing an incredible job. I think that especially these days and where we're the time that we're playing at, it's all about that. It's all about the small details, getting the stick in the way, being able to just steer the puck away from the net, steer the puck away from the slot and grade A opportunities, and that's going to be obviously another great challenge for us because Florida's amazing at doing that. Again, getting pucks to the net, getting greasy. So it's going to be really important for us as a whole team to play really good defensive hockey.
Is there a whole level of more pressure once you're in the actual final as opposed to the other rounds leading up to it?
I'm not too sure. It's I'll be able to let you know after game one.
How much better is your team today than it was when you walked out of here for game one against the Kings? How much has this team improved?
Yeah,
How are you better?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. I think we are a much better team. In those moments, we've been able to play a lot of games since game one against the Kings, and I think the more games you play, especially playoff hockey, we've gotten more of a rhythm. Leading up to basically everything that we're doing, which is power play, PK, 5-on-5. Our defensive zone, obviously neutral zone, O zone. A lot of things that we're doing really well, and we're just. I feel like we're just a very connected team. And I think that's going to be really important playing against another team that's very connected as well.
What was the turning point, Stu? What was the turning point of the playoffs here that you felt that?
For just the team in general?
That everything's coming together.
I think it's just been a whole process. It's been a big process of the games that we've been able to play, the teams we've been able to play, and going through the different situations that we've been able to go through. I think there's not kind of this one moment where I think that the team just kind of flipped a switch. I think it's just been a big process leading up to how we're playing right now.
You said Bobrovsky's skating. What do you mean by that? The way he gets across the crease, or what?
All of the above. How fast he is in getting across the crease. I think his edge control, the way that he moves on his posts and his RVH is magical to watch. It's very, very impressive, and he's just his skating really allows him to never not be in position. He's always in position just because he's always able to kind of get that second effort, get that edge, and just being able to skate really well.
Off topic, but did you go to Louis St. Laurent for junior high?
I did, yeah. I went there for, that's a while ago. I went there for grade 9, grade 10, and then I think a little bit in grade 11, a little bit in grade 12, just because I was playing in junior, so I had to switch halfway through.
If you could think about yourself at that age,
yeah.
Grade 9, Stuart Skinner,
yeah.
knowing what's happening to you now, that you're starting in net for the Edmonton Oilers, Stanley Cup Finals,
yeah.
What would you tell that version of yourself back then?
I'd tell him to relax and know that it's all going to be okay. I just tell him to really enjoy the whole process of getting up to where we are now, and I would let him know that it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of bumps and bruises, but at the end of the day, it's all going to be worth it. And just trust yourself leading up to where we're headed.
Whose job is it to? Oh, sorry.
Another question kind of related to that. When you were that age, did you listen to Oilers broadcasts on the radio? And if so, when? Was it like on the way home from practice?
Yeah, pretty well every morning going to school. We would always have the radio on whenever we hopped into the car. So whether it's going to school first thing in the morning or going back home from school, going to the rink, all that stuff. When it gets a little bit closer to the rink, I tended to put on some music, try to pump myself up as a kid. But always listening to it.
And after watching Oilers games at Rexall, when you would get back in, I guess, like your dad's car, your mom's car,
yeah.
Would you turn on the post-game show and listen to the show?
I don't have much of a memory of it, but I will never forget Rexall Place. I absolutely I love Rexall Place. It's one of those childhood kind of things that you look back on of being at the rink watching teams or just driving by, and you're like, that's so cool. So it's it's one of those things. But I'm not. I think I more remember of just excitement of that I got to go to an NHL game.
How do you prepare? Is it you try not to be different, but it is the final. Does it feel different?
I mean, the stakes are maybe a little bit higher, but at the end of the day, once this is more, the media and media attention and the things that you have to go through before Saturday at 8 o'clock. That's all more. But once the puck drops, it's going to be hockey, and we're going to try and play our best game, and they're going to try and play their best game, and that's what it's been like for the last 2 months, right? So, yeah, you prepare for it. You prepare for their team and their strength, and at the end of the day, I think both teams are just going to try and play their game and impose their will on the other team.
The other day, Matthias Ekholm was talking about how, in his experience with the final, there can be so much surrounding it that actually being ready to go at game time can be a bit of a chore. You know, that's sort of one of the things that he took away. Is that something you're prepared for and ready for?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, there's lots of things going on the outside. You know, whether you have people coming in, family, you know, there's a lot of requests and a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, you know, we're here to play hockey. We're here to win the Stanley Cup, and you know, you got to be able to block that out.
Yeah, the Vancouver series was physical at times. Dallas was a different style. Florida, I think you kind of know how they play. You expect a more physical series. You guys got a lot of big players yourself. How do you feel your team is set up to handle that and maybe just give it back as much as you'll take?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can be a physical team too. Obviously, we like to play with the puck, but we're certainly not intimidated by physicality. We've handled it well in the Vancouver series, handled it well in the LA series. Dallas was a little bit different, but we're a good enough team. We got enough guys that you know how to play that type of way as well, and yeah, we'll be ready to go.
I guess, Leon, you kind of answered it, but do you adapt your game based on how physical a team is playing with you?
Not necessarily. The game is going to be played a little bit different. The style is going to be a little different, but for me personally, it doesn't change much.
At the start of the year, you guys mentioned how you wanted to be more comfortable in the tight games. I think you've shown that. Do you feel that, like, when you're in the game, and just how much more confident are you in this group's ability? If you have to go gun to gun, you can, but you can shut it down when need be.
Yeah, we can play any style, and we can win any type of hockey game. We've shown that over the last numerous months here, and you know, we're very comfortable in any such situation that's thrown at us. You know, whether it's high scoring or low scoring, defending and grinding one out, we can win games in any fashion.
Leon, you keep your frustrations to yourself and keep waving out face-offs. Do they ever tell you, the linesman, what you're doing wrong?
I know what I'm doing wrong, but
what are you doing?
it's the heat of the moment. But you know, I'm just on my toes and you know, trying to dig in on face-offs, and sometimes just happen to jump a little too early, maybe.
Leon, Janmark told a cool story yesterday about driving home with his mom after Game 6, and she was taking video of the celebration. I know you're very focused, and there's still work to do. But have you had a soak-it-in moment or an interaction that was fun or positive in the last couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, I think just, you know, the videos that you see online or, you know, in the moment, you just soak it in and enjoy it. And, you know, videos I've seen of all her girlfriends and wives where they were sitting, you know, just the happiness and excitement around the town, around family members, around this group in here is special to see. But like you said, we obviously have bigger dreams and bigger goals right now.
The Panthers have been given a lot of credit for the way they defend, their goaltending, all that. What do you think of their team defensively, and what do you think you guys are going to need to do?
Yeah, they're an aggressive team. They defend well. Obviously, got a really good goalie. So do we.
What do you think of the time that you've spent with Holloway and Kane on your line? Obviously, you guys are a big, strong line. Just maybe your thought if that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I think I could play with anybody. Anybody on our team can play with anybody. We got so many great players. We got so much depth in this group that at the end of the day, you know, sometimes it's just a different look, right? So very comfortable with whoever is going to end up there.
Heading into this weekend.
Yeah, really exciting, obviously. You know, great opportunity for our group. Something that we've been waiting for a long time.
If you have to go against Barkov, how would you be different than going against Miller?
Would you be different than going against Miller? We've played against a lot of good players throughout this run, a lot of good teams. Obviously, you know, Barkov is you know, as good as it gets in terms of playing both ways. And really solid player.
A lot of discussion has been about Florida's physicality, that sort of thing. For you, like, does that change the way you play at all when you play a team that's more physical than other teams?
No, I think we played a real physical team in Vancouver as well. It's the playoffs, it's the finals. I would expect physicality no matter who we were playing. Obviously, Florida plays a fast game, in your face, aggressive. I don't think it changes anything.
You've played a lot of games against Pat Tkachuk over the years. Lots of antics, lots of things going on. Do you expect the same guy in a Panthers uniform that you encountered when he was wearing a Flames uniform?
I would expect the same guy, yeah. I would expect the same guy. He's a great player, smart, effective, understands, I guess the gamesmanship side of the game, and he's good at it.
The after the whistle game that you didn't get against Dallas, people are predicting you might get from Florida. That also comes with more power plays. Do you guys welcome, to an extent, the stuff after the whistle?
A lot's been talked about their physicality and the way they play and stuff like that. If they're going to take penalties and stuff like that, our power play is good at what we do. I would expect scrums and stuff like that. We're a veteran team. One of the older teams in the league. I don't think that stuff bothers guys in here.
Connor, can you talk about, as the captain of this team, and just the growth of your group, and you guys talked last year of what you didn't like within your team and where you wanted to improve, and this year you've won different games a lot of different ways. You've got guys coming into the lineup, whether you're winning or you're losing, and just kind of the diversity of this group and the ability to change almost in-game to any kind of style. Where does that come from? How much pride do you take in that as a captain?
Where does that come from? It comes from having a lot of good players. In our whole organization, I would say, we have probably 15, 16 forwards that can play on any given night, and 7 or 8 D-men. It's we have the ability to change the look of our team just by making a couple of changes within the lineup. So it's a nice thing for Nobber to have.
We only play in Florida like twice a year. Is there more video work to break down for you?
Yeah, we don't play them much, obviously, and we haven't played them for a long time. So there is. So I'm trying to figure them out. Obviously, I'm sure they'll be doing the same thing. I mean, the team that they saw, months and months ago is a lot different now. Just like the team we saw is a lot different. So, there's lots of preparation that everyone's doing.
You have a lot of guys in here that have been to a final before. What does that experience kind of bring to this team as you guys prepare for Florida?
Yeah, we got lots of guys that have experience. Like I said, we're an older group. We got lots of guys we can lean on for experience, and
I want to ask you about Corey Perry. When he had to come out of the lineup for the greater good, as he put it, can you maybe describe him as a teammate in that moment and what he was able to do for your club, even though he wasn't playing?
Yeah, there's a lot of selflessness going on this time of year. It doesn't matter who is playing or who's sitting. Everybody's trying to contribute, and you can contribute even if you're not in the lineup just by being a good teammate and showing up with a good attitude. And Parrish definitely did that, and we've had a lot of guys do that.
What does it mean to have someone in the locker room with that much Stanley Cup final experience as you prepare for Game 1?
Yeah, it's a great thing, obviously, to bounce certain questions off of, what it might be like, what it might feel like. He's definitely been there before. He's played. Said this before. He's played in every single big game there is to play in this game, and he's got a wealth of knowledge for sure in those games.
On starting, but it looks like Dylan Holloway and Leon Draisaitl back together, potentially with Kane when he comes back. When you had that line together, what did you like about them, and maybe just your thoughts on what they can do well?
I think between the three of them, they provide a little bit of everything. You know, obviously you got Leon who can, do pretty much everything, but he's ultimately the playmaker, the driver on that line. You got Dylan with some speed, getting on the forecheck, disrupt things, and Kane obviously is a little more of a finisher, a little more power, physicality type player. So, the three of them have played really well. I think, they have provided some key goals, but I think overall they probably even could have had more offense than they did provide just with the amount of chances they created.
You can have a lot of guys going through this for the first time, but some young players too, whether it's Broberg or Holloway or McLeod and such. What have you seen from your younger players when they step onto these stages that you've been on so far, and kind of the varying results, but it's sort of all part of the journey?
Well, I think they've handled it very well. And you talk about those two players with Holloway and Broberg, they've been thrown in the fire, when the stakes were high and they hadn't been with the team for the majority of the season and or played very little. And, especially going back to Broberg, throwing him in the Dallas series midway where we're in almost a must-win game. And, he handled that very well. And same with Dylan. Dylan came in and, he played a little bit at the end of the regular season, but in the playoffs, you're thinking, okay, now that we're in the playoffs, he's going to drop back. The pressure's more, the competition's higher, but he didn't affect his game at all. So that's what we like. Just not thinking about things too much, I don't think, and they're just able to play their game, and that's what we want.
Kris, a lot of your players are going through this for the first time, going to the Stanley Cup final. Potentially there could be more distractions than normal leading up to this series. Is there any discussion about dealing with some of those things before game one?
Yeah, we had a meeting yesterday and we talked about just what to expect. There's more time for the media. There's more, obviously, the travel. We just went over all the logistics, and for us, it's just we have to control what we can, and we can't get distracted with what's going on with away from the game or even what Florida's doing. We just have to focus on how we're playing and what we need to be doing, and that's it. And if we can limit the distractions as much as possible, then we should be okay.
I'll ask a general question. What makes Florida such a good defensive team?
I think just they've got a lot of good players. Whether it's their defense, their forwards, there's a lot of good players throughout the lineup, especially led by Barkov. One of the best two-way centermen in the league. And, I think the other one is just, they're aggressive. And sometimes being aggressive can give up opportunities, but they've got a five-man mentality of do your job. And, they are, like I said, they are aggressive, but they don't get caught out of position very often.
Hey, Kris. Spoke to Sherry Baston yesterday. He says hi. So he wanted me to pass that along to you. Talking to him, he said that Connor McDavid's work ethic was unbelievable when he was in Erie. I just maybe wanted to get a thought on this 15, 16-year-old kid coming in here and working harder or spending so much time in the gym, knowing they had the talent, but knowing that he had to kind of work hard to get to where he is.
Yeah, Connor's one of the hardest working guys every day at practice, doesn't ever take a shift off, doesn't take a drill off, anything. And Connor strives on being the best, and he also knows that others want to catch him, they want to pass him, and he puts in his time and works at his game and works at in the gym. Any little edge that he can get, he'll work on it.
And was that evident back then? Like, were you surprised at how hard 15, 16-year-old was willing to put in for his craft?
Yeah, he's always been like that. It's not something that's just decided to turn on now that he made the NHL. And the reason why he's got to where he's gotten is because he's always been driven like that.
Kris, a couple of things. How have you changed as a coach since you were in Erie? And do you ever get upset because Connor Brown can remember once where you threw a bunch of paper cups all over the dressing room, but he says that's the only time he's ever seen you get really pissed off?
Well, my kids tell me I've changed quite a bit because I've got a lot more gray hair. As for my coaching style, I don't know. I think I've been been the same, true to my beliefs. When I took over coaching, my first year as head coach, I was at Kootenay, and the coach that was leaving, Mark Hollick, told me just be yourself, and there's many ways to do it. And if you are somebody that you're not, the players will see through it. So, I've changed. My philosophy has changed a little bit, but ultimately my approach has been very similar.
Do you remember the paper cup?
No, I don't. I remember a player telling me about paper cups and told me, don't throw paper cups because all it does is make the players laugh because it's a funny thing to watch.
Kris, do you see Henrique as a center on a third line or a winger if you play him with McLeod?
I think he can be anywhere from a first line left winger to second line left winger, third line, whatever, up and down the lineup, whether he's playing left wing or center. So I think it depends on the rest of our lineup, and then we will insert him, and depending on what Florida has for their matchups, because I think Rico gives us a lot of options. I think he's a very good hockey player, and whether he's more of a shutdown role or he's complementing somebody to score goals, I think he's a key player.
And you've got Broberg, who's played very well the last 3 games, but you've got Desharnais, who played all the games in the regular season. Do you monitor that to see how Broberg now plays in a different series, and then say to yourself, okay, this is a little different series than one we just played, so Vinny's a much bigger player, and maybe we need that?
I think Vinny's going to come in the lineup eventually. We'll need him, whether that's game 1 or game 4, I'm not sure. But I think Broby's played really well, and we have to decide what we're doing with our pairs. I think we have to decide who's playing with who and who's playing well, and then we kind of go from there. But right now, I don't see any reason to take Broby out just because he's been playing really well.
Good afternoon, Kris. I asked you about Corey Perry yesterday. Simple follow-up. What impresses you most about Corey Perry, the person?
Just wants to win. He wants to help everybody out. Like any player, he wants to play and contribute. But he'll if he's not playing, he'll help everybody else out. And I think with his experience and his resume, what he says goes a long ways in the dressing room. And you can't have enough of those kind of guys.
Go ahead. Kris, one more from me. What do you think winning some of these low-scoring games during this playoff run, particularly the way you guys won Game 6, what do you think that does for you guys going into this Stanley Cup final, just having that experience and having success in those types of games?
Well, throughout the season, we've been able to win low-scoring games. You look at our 16-game winning streak, there's a lot of low-scoring games. So whether it's the playoffs or regular season, we've shown that we can play like that. And we do have the ability to score 4 or 5 goals some nights, but that's very difficult, especially when we're playing teams like Florida and Dallas and LA and Vancouver. That doesn't happen very often. And so if we have to score 1 or 2 to win a game, then so be it. We're comfortable doing that.
Kris, just at the back, similar to Jim's question about Vincent Desharnais up front, you have a similar scenario with Warren Foegele, played all the games, very good year in the regular season. What maybe have you not seen from him in the playoffs, and what's the scenario by which he can get back into the lineup?
Yeah, Warren's a very good hockey player, and he'll be coming in the lineup whether it's game 1 or game 4. There'll be some time that he will be playing during this series, and with his speed, his tenacity, his goal scoring, not many guys score 20 goals in a secondary role. I think maybe there's 1 power play goal, so there's not many of those guys available. So the fact that we've got one, we'll try and benefit from that as much as possible.
Hey, Kris, I talked to Rob Dahm in Austria this morning, and he said when you played for him, he wasn't sure that you were going to enter the coaching profession. He wasn't sure, but he knew that when you went to Prince Albert, you were serious about it because you have to be serious to go take a job in Prince Albert. But do you know when you got the bug, and what did Rob mean to you, or does mean to you, for spending those 5 years under him here?
Yeah, the first time I ever thought about coaching was when I was playing at the U of A, because I saw Rob, the way he approached it, and obviously I had a lot of respect for him. I thought he did a pretty good job with our team, and so that was the first time I actually thought about it, and then got really serious when I was just finishing up my career, and I had a phone call from Roy Stasiak about getting into coaching, and I didn't get that job, but ultimately that kind of opened the door of getting into the coaching world. And so I guess that's kind of when it happened. And I didn't, obviously never know what's going to happen and the steps that need to be taken, but obviously I'm very happy to be where I am. But yeah, probably my first step, that first thought about becoming a coach was under Rob, because of the respect I had for him.
How much better is your team today than it was when you skated out for Game 1 against LA?
It's tough, because every team goes through ups and downs, and it's not like it's linear. You're always getting better every single day. It's one day you're 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But that LA series, it's tough to compare, because you're playing 2 different opponents. So you might be weak in this one area that another team can exploit, but you're stronger, and I don't know, there's just ups and downs. And I think we're more resilient right now, and I think that resiliency has come from just going through hard times, difficult situations, stressful moments, and through the playoffs we've had a lot of those. The late penalty call, the game that we won 1-0 late in the third period, we had to kill one there, and the attack that Dallas had in the Game 6, Game 7, we fought off 2 elimination games against Vancouver. I think anytime that you can go through those experiences, they only make you better. And there's going to be more stressful times, and I think the fact that we've gone through quite a few since the LA series started, I think that's made us stronger.
Last one for me. Is the game film of Edmonton playing Florida early in the year of any use to you at all at this point?
I think so. We lost both those games, and we gave up a lot of goals. We obviously have to get a lot better defending them. They scored 5 each game, I believe, against us. We're not going to win if we're giving up 5. So, there are learning lessons that we can take from those 2 games. And hopefully we can get better from our experience in those. But that being said, they are a long time ago, half a season ago. But I do think they do have some merit.
This is a question about Leon Draisaitl and face-offs. Do they ever tell you, the supervisor, why Leon gets waved out of the face-off circle way more than anybody else?
No, we don't have that conversation. It's...
He's a veteran, though. Usually a younger player gets waved out, not the veterans. They're the ones that got all the tricks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the NHL would have their reason, and we'd have ours, and I don't think necessarily either one's true. It's probably somewhere in the middle, but I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.